Mirror Universe Nog doesn't trust tall men. Jake gets to meet his mom all over again. And the Terrans might not have enough troops or ships or weapons, but they have plenty of captains. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
We're also joined by very special guest, Malissa Longo. It's a Nog episode, everybody.
Yay!
And Mochi's butt, of course. My name is Ryan T. Husk. Today we are doing a review of Deep Space Nine's Season 4 Shattered Mirror, directed by James L. Conway and written by Ira Steven Behr and Hans Beimler. That's different. We usually say Ira and Robert Hewitt Wolf. So that's a fun combination there. How you guys doing?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm doing well.
There he is. He's building up the suspense.
Yes, Mirror Universe Garrick is trying to hack my signal, so he knows we're doing the Shattered Mirror episode.
Yeah. So real quick, we got a shout out for the Voyager documentary. All three of us are involved with the Voyager documentary, Indiegogo. It's going to have a really cool away mission with Starfleet Academy. We're going to talk about Cadet Nog, everybody's favorite cadet. Also, maybe Cadet Nicholas Locarno, who's played by Robert Duncan McNeil. There's so many Roberts in Voyager. Robbie Duncan McNeil, who also ended up playing Tom Paris. But check out the Indiegogo for the Voyager documentary. It's going to be huge. It's the same people, 455 Films, that did What We Left Behind, the greatest documentary in history. So they got big shoes to fill.
455.
Yeah.
We will include the link in the description box below, and you will check it out because it is glorious. We love the team, we love what they do, and we love Voyager. Anyway.
Yes, we do.
You need another woohoo.
Let's start.
We need to celebrate. And you know what? It's Women's
first.
History Month, so what a perfect time to launch a Voyager documentary and get it off the ground at this point. So I think everybody who's listening should support, because we had our first female captain who really represented well for the culture. So I want to give her support, give her love too. Yeah,
that's a great point. Women's History Month. And by the way, the campaign is doing beautifully. It is aces. It's doing really well. So jump on that train.
Yeah.
Awesome.
First things first, though, Nog doesn't like tall men. He was very clear about that.
Well, women, however.
Right.
Tall women, however, is a different story. Yeah, you would have thought he would have let me know that by now. I just it took a while. Took a while to figure that out, but I like Mirror Universe Nog in this episode. I think he gets to really unload a lot of the things that he's really great at, and that's his humor when he wants to be brash about his humor. I feel like that was on display in this episode. What do you think, Lily? Yeah.
Lisa.
It was.
She's busy playing with her kitty.
Sorry, I'm avoiding her because she likes to attack my limbs right now, so I'm hiding them because I'm not paying attention to her. Anyway, no, I liked to see this side of Nog because we don't get to see this side of him, and he does it very well.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely carries himself differently and speaks differently. His voice is deeper and more, he's more brash.
He actually seemed more like a Ferengi, right?
Yeah.
Like he just felt more Ferengi. He was just kind of crotchety and grumpy and in your face, like, you better watch it. I want to make my money. Get the heck. My favorite line probably of the entire episode was when you go like, hey, look, this is my dad. He goes, he's tall too. Like that. He just yelled, he's tall too. And that's it. That was pretty solid. Bummer about his ending, because it would be cool to have him throughout. But he is the master of his domain until then. He is the master of that bar and the promenade and all that. So that's definitely like that particular character's dream realized.
Yeah, yes, he is the owner of his castle, the ruler of his castle. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. We're just talking about Nog being running in his own bar because Rom and Quark had been killed both by the intendant.
Well, the thing about it too is they also wardrobe wise, they changed, like he was wearing some different stuff. He had the collar with the jacket, kind of like work.
Yeah, it was so nice. I was like, that's such spiffy outfit he's wearing.
It was a spiffy and a more affluent outfit to what he normally wears. Like he normally wears, I guess, like the casual Ferengi attire. Mm-hmm. But in this particular one, he was wearing the more dressed up, sophisticated with the collar and the three-piece kind of look, kind of how Quark usually dresses when he's dressed up.
Yeah, definitely liked his jacket.
I also had my favorite line was his line. But it came a little bit at a different point than when you mentioned Ryan.
Which one was that?
This was when the two of us were on the promenade, and I'm at our usual hangout chill spot. And I love that moment. But Nog comes up and he's like, "Hey, you're irritating me. Can you get the hell out of here?" Thought, right? Yeah. Can you think somewhere else?
Yeah.
You're bothering me, right? And
Jake's all nostalgic. He's like, oh boy, this is our place. And he's just like, get the out of here.
Yeah. And I bring up I'm like, usually you're the one hanging out with me. Now you're kicking me out. And he's like, am I supposed to be impressed by that? And he does this when he wants to get into like being a jerk mode in a comical way. He's so good at it, and he just flipped the switch. And so then I hit him with, I'll take off. I'm leaving. And my favorite line of the episode was, "I'm waiting."
Oh yes.
Yeah, I literally rewound it like 5 to 6 times. I just had to hear him say it over and over again. "I'm waiting." Like, okay. Get out of here.
That's hilarious.
And that just to me is like that reminds me of Aaron's kind of humor. Like that's exactly his humor. His timing is perfect like that. And he puts you in an awkward position. Like you're like, he makes you you're like, is this guy serious right now or is he not?
He'll take it all the way to the limit.
He'll take it all the way to the limit. Like, I'm waiting. Like, yeah, you said you're going to do it. Let's go. Come on. Yeah. And he's just so good about that. And that's what it reminded me the most of, is that really comedic way that he conveys his message when he wants to. It's such a perfect timing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he like really got up for this episode. Like when he read this, he's like, oh man, I cannot wait. This is going to be so much fun. Or if he was just kind of like nervous, like, oh man, I heard about these mirror universe episodes where you kind of have to be like a totally different character, I feel like he would have gotten up for it. I feel like he was like, this is going to be fun.
Yeah. I know when he read the script, he saw that he had 2 6-foot girls on each side of him.
Oh, yeah.
He was definitely up
and
for
he said he had a crush on one of them.
So here's the inside information.
Which one? I think it was the one with...
It wasn't the one he passed over to me, I think. It was the one he kept on his side.
I think so.
Melissa, it was the one with the what? What are you doing?
With the, she had the thing and then the thing and the thing. Her outfit.
You got to pay attention to the outfits better, Ryan.
I really don't. I don't even know. I just know that there were 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had one on his right, one on his left, and then he passes me the one on his left.
Yeah, the one in black, and I don't think that's the one he had a crush on. I think it was the other one.
The one with the things.
Yes, that was my guess.
Yeah.
But I love the too tall line too that came in that moment. It was pretty. And then I also like the moment where Jake feels like he just got busted by his dad because he's over there like. Right, he's over there with this girl that just got passed over to him, and then his dad walks in, and he's like, "I got nothing to do with this. Just stopping by. That's all."
It's another Dabo girl.
Right.
I had forgotten what a relatively Jake-centric episode this was. It was really sweet to see Jake with his mother, because obviously, like, he knows it's not really his mother, but it is the next best thing. It is 1 and 1A, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just got to be like such a cool feeling. It was like a really good idea to do that, where he's just like saying, I don't know how much time I have with this lady, but I want to just soak it up, have fun. She's so cool. She's just like mom. And it was really sweet. I'd forgotten that was kind of like, almost like the main through line of the episode, and I don't know. I really liked it a lot. I don't know if you remember shooting it, Cirroc.
I did remember shooting it, and I like the idea too. First of all, the woman that plays Jennifer Sisko, she's so gracious, Felicia, so gracious, so gentle, obviously beautiful. But there were certain moments there that I too was like, oh, I'm glad that they got this done. I think there was a moment where we were holding hands, and I was just looking at her hands. And even watching back as I was watching the episode, I was thinking how important and what that means to somebody to be able to just hold their hands and feel their hands in your hands. And that made me think, oh, this is a great episode, because one of the things I do like what Deep Space Nine does a good job of is bringing back elements of the stories that they've already told, so that you still remember those things. So obviously Jennifer Sisko is from the pilot, but then they also had an episode where she was this professor. I forgot the name of this. This is like a second part of a 2-part, right? Actually, it might have been Tarek Noor, but I'm not sure if that's the first part of this episode. But the episode where Sisko intervenes and she's a professor, and we watched that, and this feels like a continuation of that. Mm-hmm. So they
it's all one big story arc for the mirror universe. Yeah.
Right. And that's what I like. I like being recalled of these kinds of things that normally you do an episode, you move on, and then you never really get a reminder of that. So it doesn't feel like real life. If we all go and hang out and party in Vegas at the convention, that becomes part of our memories together. So we'll always kind of bring it up at some point later on in the future. Mm-hmm. And that's what I like what they do when they storytell on Deep Space Nine, is they bring those kinds of memories back to us in the present sense, and moving forward. So you get a reminder of those kinds of bonds and those kinds of relationships and those kinds of emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels honest. And I know at that moment when he was saying, look, I never thought I'd hold these hands again, I was like,
yeah,
it got me. But it's so true, because it's little things that you don't think about, that you didn't realize that you missed, and then until something reminds you of it. And they did that moment very beautifully. You and Felicia did that beautifully.
She made it very easy, too. I mean, because she is one of these people that is really gentle, very welcoming, very warm. You see how soft she is in this whole episode. She doesn't come across to me as like a malicious person with kind of ill will intent. She seems, even though she's setting it up and staging this whole thing to get Jake over there, and even that seems good intention and have a good nature behind her motives behind it.
Right.
Yeah, and I really liked.
I'm sorry, Ryan.
Oh no, I was just kind of jumping on that. That I really liked the way the episode started, which was on Jake at the promenade, and it kind of gives us an idea. Well, is this going to be the B plot? A lot of times they like to start with like a B plot, and it kind of was in this episode. It was kind of intertwined with the A plot a lot. But it just opens up on the promenade, shows this big, beautiful set that we love. It's panning up. And then you see Jake in a spot looking down. In my notes, I was like, oh my God, I love it already. Like, just because it had like the big, beautiful set, shows Jake in that special spot that we love so much. And just showing him at that spot by himself without even any dialogue already gives us a feeling. We're like, oh, there he is without his friend, and it makes us think of Nog. It makes us think of all the times we used to see them there, including in the first episode where they just shake hands there, that fateful scene. So I was wondering if you, Cirroc, when you saw that, did you kind of get the same feeling of like, ooh, this is gonna be a good one, let me just buckle in, let me get comfortable?
Well, one of the things that I really like about watching that opening moment is first they address the fact that I'm used to Odo kicking me out of that spot, right? Yeah. So there is, when I see him, it's like how you see that when black people get pulled over by the police, that nervousness that you have, that's the feeling I have when Odo walks up on me, like, uh-oh.
Odo's a cop, man.
Yeah, so this might not work out well for me. So that's just right off top. I actually addressed that, and I said, I thought you were going to ask me to leave, and he's like, yo, I don't kick you out. I actually kick Nog out. He's the one that's causing all the trouble. You just happen to be with him. So I just like the fact that they addressed that a little bit, right? My tension and his intentions as well, Odo. Then I kind of go into this sad moment, like, damn, I wish I did have some sand peas with me so I could throw them down to people. But I don't even have those because Nog used to supply those. It's kind of like that, just like sadness about, I wish I did have those moments again, hanging out and throwing sand peas. But I did like the fact that what I said in that moment was, I'm proud of what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And it came up, Quark says, hey, you look so sad. You've been sad here for 4 out of 5 days or whatever. And then he starts to say, I wish my nephew never joined. I could have had a better waiter. I could have had this and that. And I thought that it was good that Jake defends Nog's decision. And when he says, I'm proud of what he's doing, like, he's making me proud. He might not make you guys proud, but he's making me proud. Even though I'm suffering the most, by losing my best friend. But I'm doing it because he's making me proud, and I support his decision. So I just feel like another emphasis on Jake backing his best friend.
Yeah.
Melissa, what did you think when they had that opening scene there? Had you seen it recently, or did it just kind of remind you and come back?
No, I watched it last night. Just to get a refresher, but I love that scene between all three, Jake, Odo, and Quark, because they all bring a different element of the story together without that missing, Nog element. So and I wrote down that line too that Cirroc just mentioned. I'm proud of what he's doing, and I love that line. And like Quark's line after, where he says, remember that the next time you try to play Dom Drop by yourself.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
But yes, it was such a strong friendship moment. And I love how Jake supports Nog and what he's doing. What a good friend he is.
Totally. I know what Cirroc's thinking. When are we going to talk about the intendant?
I mean, that's a whole specialization. We're still milking this one, because I do think that one of the things that reminded me this episode really had a baseline storyline of family. Yeah. And I felt like that's what this whole thing really was about. Like, in order to get Sisko over there, they needed family. Mm-hmm. And in this case, I feel like a lot of this episode, you mentioned being a Jake-centric episode. This is actually about Jake's family, because Nog is part of Jake's family, because his mom is there. They don't get Sisko over there without Jake's family, right? And him feeling like, hey, this place is cool. Like, I know it's not the same O'Brien and the same Bashir and the same Nog, but I think I can, this is still my family. These are still my people. So I can roll here until he realizes that it's not exactly the same, right?
His family, really. It just looks like his family.
Good enough.
Right. Well, it's good enough, at least in the case with his mother, I think, because he didn't get enough time with his mother. You know, Jake is.
Right.
This was maybe 5 years ago at this point in real time, or at least in the time that they're trying to portray on television. So I would say Jake has now gone through 4 or 5 years without his mother. So this means like a whole lot to him.
Right.
You know, somebody who's not a holosuite program, somebody who's actually feels real in the flesh, somebody that they can give a hug to and has their own ideas that are not programmed into them. So I think that was special for him too.
Yeah, he misses his mom, he misses his best friend, and he gets them both in one shot. He's just like, wow, this is so cool. I get everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
And they both die.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a whole other topic that we get into too, man. Because
both die.
I feel like, you know, it's crazy because Jake has suffered the most out of any character I think you could probably mention. His story arc starts with his mother dying, ends with his father dying, right? And then there's all these deaths in between, which is like he basically sees his father die in the Visitor episode in front of him. Then he sees his mother die in this episode, even though it's not really her, but it's, you know, it's his alternate mother. So it's
he
like
gets to see his best friend, and his best friend hates him in this episode.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, buddy. And his best friend's like, get out of here.
Right. And he dies.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, even in the documentary, What We Left Behind, you know, that theoretical death, it was like, why are you guys torturing Jake? So his mom dies twice, his dad dies twice, his best friend dies twice.
And you're right. Even when the series is over, the documentary is still screwing around.
Well, which actually kind of provides evidence that maybe this is Jake telling these stories. So that he's the writer of these stories. Oh.
Whoa.
She's aggressive.
She is. Okay, Moach.
Yeah.
Can
you get down now, please?
I will say though that
no, I do like that idea though, the writer of these stories, but it's definitely something that comes up to mind. I was like, wow, how tragic is that?
Yeah.
That would be interesting if they just kind of say it was all through Jake's eyes, you know?
The dreamer in the dream.
The dreamer in the dream.
Yeah, it's possible.
So we're going to take a break in just a minute here. Definitely going to talk about the Intendant. I definitely personally want to talk about another new character to the Mirror Universe, who was Worf's character. Introduce somebody. I mean, they keep killing off characters, but they have new ones to bring in. You know, we saw Rom in the last one. So that'll be exciting. There's going to be a nice, you know, dynamic between Worf and Garrick and the Intendant, certainly in the next one. Yeah. But we'll talk about all of that very soon on the other side of this break. And we'll see in a second on The Seventh Rule. Welcome back to The Seventh Rule with Cirroc, Lofton, Malissa Longo, and Mochi, Ryan T. Husk. Here are the trivioids that may or may not have made the cutting room floor. Jake Sisko misses his pal Nog. Minister Gator is anxious to meet the emissary. Terrans have driven the Alliance off the Pace Station. I think that was probably supposed to say Space Station.
Okay.
The rebels control Terroc Nor. Jake gets to meet his mom all over again. The Terrans might not have enough troops or ships or weapons, but they have plenty of captains. And Mirror Universe Nog doesn't trust tall men. I did really like that line with Chief O'Brien, where he made the captain's joke.
Oh, yeah, too many. And you know what? It's funny because it made me think of that commercial that Captain. Is it what is that thing? Is it a Captain's Jack? What is that?
Yeah, I don't remember, but I feel like it's a play off of was it like a MASH scene where they're like doctor, 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 doctor,
yes,
doctor, doctor.
Yes. It is a play off of that. but I'm trying to think of where I saw that the captain. It was, I think it's one of those. Definitely Captain Obvious. That's what it is. You know, the Captain Obvious character from TripAdvisor or one of those Travelocity type of
Melissa knows.
shows.
Yeah.
But I thought Garrick was also great in this episode
too.
too, which he's always great, but he was really great as a prisoner of this new Worf character that they just brought in. I loved him kissing up to Worf.
He's one of the characters that he's probably the character more than any other one in this series that makes me stop, think about how he delivered a line, emulate that line, and then compare it to what it looked like on the page and how I would have delivered it and why he's so smart for delivering it that way. You know, like it's almost every line he does, one line, 4 words, 5 words. And I'm just like, wow, that's a really good way of delivering that. You know what I mean? Like every time that guy, he's masterful.
Yeah, I did exactly what you said in this scene where he was speaking with Worf. When he says to him something like, your fairness and good judgment are everything. And he says it angrily, but he's actually complimenting him and kissing up to him.
Right.
And I said, wow, he said that. And then the response was spoken like a true Klingon, right? That was Worf's response. But it made me think, oh, so it was the spoken like a true Klingon that came after, which made him say it like that, right? Because he said it in a certain way. And then I realized, oh, he's saying it like a Klingon, essentially. And then he says, his response was, I'm trying, right?
Yeah.
So then
I'm trying.
Right. And I just loved, I had to rewind that a few times. Like, this guy is so masterful. He says it like he's a Klingon, begging for mercy in a very rigid kind of, I'm not begging for mercy type of way, but I am, because I'm saying it so rigidly, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm trying. He stretches that one out like, you know, I'm doing my best here, you know, trying to kiss your behind so you don't kill me. I love the way Andrew Robinson portrays Garrick. I think he's just masterful, and
yeah, A+.
You know, just people can learn from his style. I think a lot of the characters here have their own styles and their own ways of approaching acting. We all do, but I think his is just something that should be. You can definitely see the levels. You know, there's like, whoa, that's a high level of skill right there. I just love his ability.
Yeah, and everything he delivers, every line he delivers is just seething with subtext and with double entendre and with it's never on the nose. It always means 2 things. He's always delivering it in 2 ways that can be taken in 2 different ways, I guess. It's always fun to just watch him deliver each individual. There's almost never a line that he says that's just like, oh, that sounds just fine, thanks. Like there's nothing like that.
He doesn't throw things away.
Yeah,
no.
I'm never really sure where he's coming from. So it's like, okay, sure, you're saying this, but what do you really mean? What's under there? So yeah, he's definitely got his secrets.
And I feel like he's playing chess. It's like a game of chess, a verbal game of chess, where he's making these very calculated moves to elicit a response. And so I just love to watch him go through the motions of trying to flush that out. But we can't talk about great performances without also talking about the intendant.
Here we go. All right.
Miss Nana Visitor. She's amazing, as usual. There was a moment where the two of Nana and Sisko had a close-up. I really enjoyed that camera. I like them being so close together. I actually wrote down here that I just love that scene. So James Conway kind of going in really close when the intendant is talking with Sisko, and he says to her, "Don't count on it." She basically says, "Help me escape from out of here."
Right.
And he looks at her like, "Don't count on it." But just that moment where they get really close and then come back out, I love that as a decision for just telling the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did notice so many times, as usual, a different part of Nana Visitor in the Intendant. Like, Nana's got this most amazing smile that you don't see very often with Kira, because that's not the Kira character. I mean, she shows it a little bit as time progresses in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th seasons, but that's less about her character. It's more about her toughness. The Intendant shows off her beautiful smile. It shows off her this other interesting aspect that she has. And, of course, it goes into a hypersexualized place a lot of times, but it's also nice to just have her being a little more light, a little bit, almost like a little bit more in charge, where it feels like Major Kira is still fighting, she's fighting for something, she's fighting to get there. Whereas the Intendant is like, I am here. I am the queen of this castle. You know what I mean? It's a very different feeling. And it's so cool to see this other side of Nana delivering this so well. She's another one. As the Intendant, she delivers lines in a way that I'm like, wow, that was a really good way. And that, when I watched this episode, was the first time I actually noticed Nana Visitor's voice. And I was like, I actually really like her voice. When there was something she said or a way that she said, I was like, I actually just really like listening to her voice, and it really opened up for this character is when it showed.
Yeah. Kind of like how Andy Robinson does Garrick with his charm. She turns the charm on when she turns into the Intendant. So she becomes very charming and very ostentatious and flattering and just so much bigger when she's in that mode. And then when she's as Major Kira, I feel her like in the military. So she's actually very military about how she carries herself. You know how when a soldier's all stepped up and stiff and you're telling them at ease so they can, be yourself. That's, she's mostly always stiffed up and ready to go and ready to fight because she's in soldier mode. But as an Intendant, she's just in this really charmful, playful mode, very hypersexualized, like you mentioned. And there was a moment there. This was one of my other favorite little moments in this episode. There were a lot in this episode. Right. Shout out to Ira and Hans. I think you said the two of them just nailed the dialogue here. Another one was she says, so what about you? She was flirting with the guy, the guy who was watching Dora at the when she was locked.
Was that Dennis Matalone again?
I think it was Dennis Matalone. Yeah.
I looked, I was like, is that Cirroc's guy? Is that the stunt coordinator guy? I think it is.
So he's like, you killed my wife, right? And she's like, oh
yes.
I was hoping you were single.
That was perfect line. Brilliant. I loved it.
Oh, it was just amazing. And so the way she just is so natural about just being devious and cunningly just up to no good. I think it's just amazing. I really love watching her perform as this character. And not to just end there, I want to actually get to O'Brien when we have a chance, but I know I'll let you guys finish on Kira because she's just that amazing.
She is that amazing. I agree. I echo. It's why she's my favorite.
Yeah.
No offense, but
is your favorite Major Kira or the Intendant?
Well, I like them both for different reasons, although I'm very angry at the Intendant for killing Nog.
Why would you kill him? He just helped you get out. You had no way out of the situation.
Just to protect herself that he wouldn't tell anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that highlights a character trait in both Kiras. They're both survivors, but in different ways. Kira in our Prime universe is always on guard because she's, ready for whatever is thrown at her. That's the life that she's lived. Guarded, ready for action at the drop of a hat. This Kira has used her charms to survive, and it's gotten her this far, and it's put her in positions of power where, she's the one who calls the shots, and she's the one who's in control of everything. So, but both of them, to me, are survivors, and they use the tools that they were given in their surroundings for that survival, which is really, really interesting to watch. And I love that both of them are very intelligent in the way they approach things. So yeah.
Right. Now shifting gears a little bit, what about Worf? I was also very impressed with Michael Dorn's portrayal of Worf, because this was also a very Klingon and sadistic almost Klingon warrior, and he played it so well. And because you kind of always wonder, like, can this actor play this character completely differently? You never know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And he was so good as this Klingon captain. And they got captains everywhere in this thing, but he was great. There were a few lines that he delivered too that I was like, ooh, that's a really good way of doing that. I don't remember which ones they were, but it was when he was coming really close to Garrick and saying a couple little naughty Klingon things to him.
Yeah.
He reminded me of a spoiled child who's constantly throwing a tantrum. And it's totally opposite from our Worf. So it was, I love Worf in this too.
Well, our Worf does have one childish trait that I've noticed. He's very pouty.
Yeah.
He's like, I do not think that, whatever he says, he's always just like, he pouts a little bit. that's his thing.
Well, Mary Worf actually stamps his feet and
if he dies, you die.
That was good.
I wanted to talk about O'Brien for a second because
Smiley.
Bashir and O'Brien had another one of my moments where I had to write it down. I was like, this is hilarious. And Bashir's like, he's a little obnoxious in this episode, I think. He comes across really obnoxious. I think when he first comes in, he punches Sisko.
Right.
And it's just, for the last time, And
Sisko gives it like a little twitch.
Sisko's like, he gives him a look like, all right, we're even now. That was his line. We're even now. But it was like, now just do anything and I'm going to provoke me. And
we're at zero. Stay at zero.
And I think O'Brien's like, I think you should leave that guy alone. I think it's,
I think that's good for now.
Don't push it. So he comes off really annoying and this really arrogant kind of guy, right? Overbearing, a little obnoxious in this episode. But he comes up to O'Brien, or Smiley in this case, and says, well, what am I supposed to do with these torpedoes?
Yeah. He's like, I could think of a few places to put them.
And that was the best line. I love that line. I had to rewind that one too. I was like, oh yeah, that's one of those. I was thinking of you, Ryan. I was like, that's one of those quick run-in comebacks where it's just like, I won't say it, but I'll say it. And I just thought, I'm
glad you took it that way. I didn't know if you meant like, that's something I want to say to Ryan all the time. It made me think of him.
No. I thought about you because you're really quick-witted with your comebacks, and I think that's one that you might get away with. I can think of a few places, And I
did
like.
Bashir actually gets the girl in this.
Kira does what?
I said Bashir actually gets the girl
Bashir.
in this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Bashir, I remember thinking like, boy, this character is so different from Sid. Because most of these characters you can kind of see like a piece of Kira in the regular Kira, or a piece of Nana in the regular Kira and the Intended, for example. Definitely we saw some Aaron humor in the Mirror Universe Nog, you know. But the Mirror Universe Bashir, we're like, this is not Sid at all. This is Sid acting, because it's not like they're like, you know, just, you know how you're usually like a jerk to people, just use that. No, Sid is like such a nice, loving, caring guy that I was like, wow, I wonder if he had fun with it, or if he was like, oh boy, I'll try.
Yeah, I think he got a little practice with the James Bond episode, so he was kind of a little bit out of character with that. So I think he's ready to go. He's like, hey, what do you need me to do? Well, I can be a real jerk, or I can be a real ladies man, whatever you want. Ladies man, I can not get the lady, I can get the girl, whatever you want.
He's like, not get the girl, preferably get the girl.
And then Dax slapped Sisko. I thought Sisko was getting slapped around in this episode. I was like, why is everybody walking up to him?
That's true.
So I know Ira must have had a little phone call with Avery, like, hey, are you sure we got to do this?
You know, speaking of Dax, I'd forgotten about that. I don't usually notice these things, as we've mentioned before, like the wardrobe and the hair and stuff. Dax looked great. I don't know if it was the hair or the makeup, or I don't know what it was.
The hair was a little bit shorter, I think.
But I was just like, dude, whatever they did, she looks awesome. Good for her, man.
Yeah, she looked hot.
Hot. She did look. Actually, they did the same kind of thing to Sid too. Actually, Sid usually has his hair kind of muted and the same as you know, it's always the same. But in this one, it was like a little poofier.
Kind of had the flock of seagulls going on.
Yeah, I think it was a wig.
Yeah,
was it a wig?
Had to be. It was super long.
Okay, so yeah, so they made these hair changes for sure that made like with Terry, with Dax as well. I felt like her hair looked completely different, and it changed her look up. Yeah, it's good though. I like the change up. I didn't notice if you guys noticed, but there were a couple of cool little fighting scenes. I know it's kind of like but the
Aaron had one.
Oh no, I didn't mean the actual fighting scenes, and I know that he had one. I meant like the special effects spaceship fighting scenes. There were a couple of those. I thought
so good.
Yeah, because they were kind of flying in between the station, and the maneuvering was it looked kind of cool to me. I don't know if it was the first time I really took notice of it, but I said, "Oh look, I like this little maneuvering fight scene that they had."
Man, yeah, I definitely took a note of that, where I was like, wow, this is a great, I mean, the Defiant fight scenes, you know, ship battles are just a cut above the other Star Trek ship battles. And, you know, it's beautiful, it's exciting, it's fun. I love the sound that they chose for the Defiant's, you know, phasers or disruptor cannons, like, you know. I love the sound that they chose for it. It really has like a good kick to it. Just all around very happy with the Defiant battle scenes. Yeah,
I thought so too. I like the special effects in this episode. I said, well, these special effects are awesome.
And then you wonder how expensive it is, and you're like, well, there goes their budget for the week, right?
Yeah, there goes the budget.
Melissa's got that in her background, the fight, the battle.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah, and the Defiant's right there. You can kind of see it. So, yeah, I can't move my chair that much. But I'm pinned in here.
So we only have a couple minutes left here. One quick thing, another funny line was when Sisko was, you know, saying pattern Delta, Alpha, or whatever. And then when he says, okay, we're going to take the ship right at him. And Chief O'Brien goes, He goes, pattern suicide. That's a good line there. But overall, with a couple minutes left, do you guys have any final thoughts on this episode or anything that you'd like to highlight?
Yes, I do have a few things. One is Odo calls me Mr. Sisko, Mr. Sisko, and I like it. So you can refer to me as Mr. Sisko from now on, because
if you're nasty,
that is a distinction between Captain Sisko and Mr. Sisko, right?
Right.
So I
go.
Right.
That's
so
good.
Yeah, Mr. Sisko. I like that one, Mr. Sisko. The other thing that I noticed too was my dad in this episode calls me Jaco.
Yeah.
Another nickname. So Mr. Sisko / Jaco.
Yeah, but he's
like
called him that before, though.
He has.
Yeah.
I thought so, but it just really resonated this time when I heard it. I don't know why, but it's just like there was a moment. And the last Sisko reference that I have is chicken a la Sisko, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the trifecta for the Sisko references in this one for me.
I do really like that they do that angle of you guys all being good cooks. I think that's a really fun thing. It gives detail and character to them. It gives them added depth. It's really fun. It's really cool. Are there any more Sisko nicknames? I don't think so. Jake just calls him, or Nog just calls him Jake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I think that's it. I think it's Jaco, Mr. Sisko.
If you're nasty. That's it.
Keep throwing. See, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I was talking about right there. You're
the one that you were saying it. You're like, you kept saying it. You're like, come on, somebody say it. Somebody say it. Call me Mr. Sisko.
Well, at least he didn't break out into the thong songs.
Right.
So, we can be thankful.
I don't know that one well enough.
Okay, good.
We all have our homework.
Then we're all good here then.
We all have our homework here. Were there any NAMs before we go? I don't think there are any NAMs.
No,
I mean,
did we ever see the minister Gruner?
no.
I don't know if we saw him.
Actually, Rom can get a NAM because he was mentioned and wasn't on there. I mean,
My uncle, yeah.
mhm.
My uncle and my father.
I'll go for that.
Mm-hmm. I can't go for that. So let's give a quick thank you very much and special thanks to Carmen Shamwell, aka Skillet, TJ Tomas, TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Bill Victor Arucan, Yvette Blackmon, Homer Frizzell, Eve England out in Wales, Florida, and Marie Segal, Titus Mohler, Tim Baum, Sue V. Gruner, Robert Hoffman, and Darlena Marie. Now, everybody stay tuned for the free-for-all. It's going to be crazy. We have some big announcements to make. We just have to think of them real quick. And we'll see you on the other side. Always remember the 7th rule.
Howdy ho!
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the 7th rule. That is TJ Jackson Gorn in the corner there. We have Mr. Cirroc Lofton, of course, Malissa Longo, Homer Frizzell, Dr. Sue Gruner, and Dr. Anne-Marie Segal. This is the free-for-all. And first things first, we're talking about places to visit. Let's throw a few questions out. I know Homer's always like, can we just talk about Star Trek, for God's sake?
Right.
Talk about places.
The only answer to any question about traveling is Ryza.
Nice.
Right.
So let's
I'm
go.
there.
Field
Get
trip.
some Jamaharan going.
The Gorn is out of control.
Oh my
Always.
Going to be
Always.
wild, right?
Born to be wild. Nice.
Yeah, let's just go around and say, what's the coolest place you've ever seen? And what is the place that you've never been to that you would like to see the most? I know. I know. All right, I'll start since everybody looks like they don't have. I don't know. Sue looks like she knows. All right, Sue, you want to hit us with it?
Yeah. The best place, my favorite place that I've been is Kenya.
Can you prove it?
Um,
I'm just no, please.
Yes, actually, I have pictures. I went on safari with my mom.
Yeah, prove it.
And it was the time of the year when the wildebeests were migrating. And that's something that is a once in a lifetime. I mean, there's billions of them. You see them as far as the eye can see in every direction.
Wow.
It was really, really cool. It was I've traveled around the world, but that is I went with my mom, and it was the most interesting and fun place.
Wow. What's a place you
I
haven't
recommend
been
it highly.
that you would really love to see?
Madagascar.
Nice.
Madagascar. They have really cool lemurs, all kinds of cool primates and bugs, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. What about the Gorn in the house?
The Gorn and the Hizzy. Let's see. I'm gonna pick an easy answer. So, on the last Star Trek cruise, we visited St. Thomas Island, and I got a chance to take a local bus tour, around the island and see some pretty cool stuff. So I enjoyed that very much. It's very pretty, and if I were able to retire today and be independently wealthy, then I would instantly move there.
Nice.
Some good shopping too.
Yeah.
Thank
A
goodness
place
for
that I haven't been, I would definitely love to visit the African continent. I think there are a lot of amazing places there to visit that, we don't typically see portrayed here in the West. And so I would like to go and see those places for myself and see more than what's portrayed here in the West.
Any spots in particular?
Nigeria, Lagos.
Nice. All right. Green and white, I believe, are the national colors, or the colors of the flag, right? I think that's what it is. Melissa, do you have a place in mind that you think is just the coolest place you've ever seen?
I don't know. That's really hard because I've seen a lot of cool places. So I'm gonna say two of the top, but they're not the favorite because I don't know that I have a favorite. But I'm gonna say Brazil, which was wonderful. Such beautiful beaches and countryside and what have you, and but yes, that was fun to visit. And off the coast of California, I went on a whale watching tour around the Channel Islands, and that's probably the ocean part between the shores. There's probably my favorite place because of all of the dolphins. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dolphins, and that's not an exaggeration. These pods are huge and swim like torpedoes in the water, and it's amazing. So it's probably my favorite place.
Do you have a place that you haven't seen yet that you can't wait to see someday?
Two bucket list places: Machu Picchu in Peru and Egypt.
Nice.
I
Oh, yeah.
pyramids. Yeah, so
Just all about those pyramids and stuff, huh?
yeah, and old architecture.
Mhm.
So amazing.
TJ's reminding you about the village people right now.
No, I have my
I know, I'm just
pyramid
kidding. I know. All right, Anne Marie, this is you. It's your time to shine.
I think I have to go with Venice is my favorite. And what I want to, well, I have two places or things: Northern Lights and Casablanca.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my mom grew up.
Ah.
In the Northern Lights?
Yep. She's an alien.
Is she a prophet?
What about you, Homer?
For favorites, I have two islands. One, Kauai,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Isle of Skye as well. So maybe it's being around the water. Maybe it's just being on vacation. So it makes wherever you are a little bit better. But those are both great. As far as a place I want to go, I have to, there are two here too. So Egypt, yes, 100%. I would love to see something that's older than what's here in New York City or in Europe as well. Well, I don't know. Yeah, that would be older technically. Anyway, also I've never been to Asia. And so I don't know which country or which city or which area, but I should definitely get there sometime and sample the food, etc.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I heard
so
Singapore is beautiful.
Yeah.
we know you've seen a lot of places in your travels.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of places. Yeah, thankfully, and been blessed. And
Yeah, actually, you were saying that you've been around the world from London to the Bay, right?
that's exactly what I was saying, Ryan.
That's an MC Hammer reference, guys.
Okay, all right.
Oh, thank you.
No, I think the most spectacular thing that I've seen and place that I've been to was actually in my mother's home country in Ethiopia. And our family is from the capital city of Addis Ababa. And I've always been there and visited there when I went. But the last time I went, I decided to go outside.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
It's good to go outside.
So I went to, outside of the main capital city. And I went to a city called Lalibela, where there are these, they're called rock-hewn or hand-carved rock churches. They were basically pieces of rock that were chiseled out. And it was just the most spectacular thing I've ever seen. I couldn't believe that these 12 or 13 churches were all carved out of stone at the time period that they were, and to the degree that they are. I mean, some of them look really elegant, like the Parthenon. I mean, with the columns like the Parthenon. Some of them are shaped like a cross. Just amazing stuff. So I think that was one of the things that took my breath away. And then as places that I would like to go to, including, I have to agree with Malissa about Egypt and seeing the pyramids and seeing all of the ruins of the different dynasties that existed. I think that would be magnificent. But also, like vacation, would like to see Fiji and relax in Fiji. I've heard many things, good things about it. So that's one place I'd like to check out too.
Field trip to Fiji.
Fiji.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
There's one place I
don't
want to go. I don't want to go to Cestus 3. Cestus 3 is really bad.
But they have baseball there, right?
Yes, they have baseball. But, the last time I was there, my ship got chased away, and I got shot in the chest. It was not fun.
Yeah, but you got to practice
You
some
got
rock
to wrestle
throwing.
with a really hot man.
It's a real cesspool over there.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I got coach.
I just
Yep.
love seeing Homer shake his head.
So I'll tell you, I'll try to narrow it down to a couple places because I'm always easily impressed. Definitely with Homer on the Kauai thing, really cool. Prague,
Oh,
definitely. Southern France feels
Very
like my
nice.
home. That's where I'm going to end up at some point. And very quickly, maybe the most amazing place I've ever seen is Southern Utah in Arches National Park. I was just like, I had no idea. It just sucks you in, you know, you like, it's crazy. It's an amazing place. Place I'd like to visit the most, it's all Mediterranean, honestly. It's all places I haven't seen yet around the Mediterranean, like Italy, Turkey,
Croatia.
Egypt, Morocco, Greece.
Monaco, yeah.
Those are next on the list.
I would love to go swimming in Greece.
Ew.
Swimming
Oh,
in the waters of Greece.
in the
The grease and
Aegean.
water don't mix.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
know.
All right, Homer, let's talk about this episode a little bit. Any thoughts?
Let's do it. I was amazed at how Cirroc Nor was able to build the Defiant with just the schematics. I mean, that smiley is pretty good.
Better
Not the
believe
same
it.
thing too. Like they actually had the same kind of interior mostly too.
I know, it's amazing. They had just recently recaptured the station and they're able to build a tough little ship.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Little.
I mean, the Mirror Universe ones are always a lot of fun because you get to see the actors do something that's usually atypical for them, or at least the roles that we've seen them in. And so we definitely got that. I had forgotten that Jennifer Sisko died in this one as well, so that was a little bit tough for me to get through. But yeah, it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I think I know what it was on IMDb because I looked it up.
I just remembered. I was just going to say, we forgot to do Jake Sisko guesses the IMDb score.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, we did. We sure did.
I was just going to like ask Cirroc after this, and you almost, I panicked.
No.
I panicked. What do you think, Cirroc?
Oh, man, this IMDb, 7.8. That's my guess, 7.8.
Final score was, Homer?
Well, it could have changed since I looked at it, but 7.3.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Wow. They're tough, those guys.
Well, a lot of people say they don't like the Mirror Universe episodes. They just say
I
they
don't
skip those.
usually, but I like this episode a lot.
This is a really good one.
It's good.
I
This
mean-
was so usually with the Mirror Universe episodes, I'm worried that their cover will be blown, but they've been going to this universe. I think this is the third time. And it's kind of like, you know, Sisko's wandering around in his Starfleet uniform. That's all fine. Yep, he's from the other universe. No problem.
Yeah,
So I
it's
didn't
fancy
have
dress
that.
day.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't have that fear, which I
Homer
usually
needs
have when
that.
someone's going to the Mirror Universe.
You were going to say something, TJ?
Oh yeah, I mean Felicia Bell.
Mm.
We definitely
Yeah,
said a
sorry,
few nice
sorry,
words.
Jake. I love your mom. But no, I speaking of Jake, we get to see Jake and Nog interact in this episode, but it's Mirror Nog.
Yeah.
And
Poor
you know, as this
Mirror Nog.
episode goes on, like you know, I'm in the fields for what Jake is going through because you know, here's this woman that looks exactly like his mother. That, I mean, how long has it been? Years and years and years, and you know, he finds out that she's only after him to get to his father, and then he goes to see Nog, and Nog is like, "Get out of here! You're too tall. I don't like you."
Yeah, that was a good time. We definitely enjoyed talking about the whole Jake and Nog aspect of. I had forgotten that it was a very Jake centric kind of episode. There was a lot of Jake and Nog dynamic in there.
And the shirt.
And the shirt. How'd you feel about the shirt, Sue?
Look, I would wear that shirt.
Wait, as a Gorn or as TJ?
Yeah, the Gorn wearing the shirt over it.
As both. TJ would wear that shirt also.
Poor Jake. Poor
It's
Jake.
like we lost Cirroc. Maybe he'll come back.
Maybe it's just as well.
There he is.
Well,
I'd wear it if it were comfy.
Yeah. Cirroc, the only thing you missed was that TJ was saying he would totally wear the Jake Sisko outfit. And we were trying to figure out if he would wear it as is or on top of the Gorn outfit.
Definitely not with the Gorn outfit. Actually, that shirt was pretty nice. It was a silky shirt, so it felt good. Sometimes they were itchy wool material, and you're just like uncomfortable all day. That was a nice silky shirt. I'd wear that shirt again with a suit jacket over it, maybe like with a suit jacket and some jeans.
Collar popped or not popped?
It just depends. It depends. You know.
Half like, oh, I didn't mean for it to pop.
Ever since I can remember, I've been popping my collar.
You really would wear that shirt?
I would.
You know what you're telling me?
I would wear that one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He has good taste.
It's just bad enough.
There's the purple.
Yeah, the purple on the sleeve. Yeah. I'd actually wear it. Yeah.
Was there ever a time, Cirroc, where you're like, man, this shirt looks pretty good? Like you were fooled and you're like, this shirt, can I wear this one out?
You're fooled.
No, there was never a time where I wanted to wear anything out. Except I'll give them credit because they did have some of the best boots. So as far as boots were concerned, all of our boots were like first class, really nice, like good shoes.
I bet they were made for walking too.
Hey,
we're made for walking. That's just what we do.
Nice.
I'm sure they used expensive fabrics for everything.
They used expensive fabrics, and everything was tailored. So I mean, it was meant to, it was designed to fit you. Robert Blackmon was just the best, and he was always like, even that shirt. I mean, it's not one fabric. He's using a blend of these different fabrics and piecing it together in a way. He uses the neckline as the purple neckline, just that little purple little trim on the neck. I mean, it's really soft and delicate.
To sew something like that without getting
also at that bias. Crazy.
Yeah, that delicate and that, but yet that durable, so I can walk around and wear it all day. Most of the stuff had duplicates, so there were at least two of each shirt. But yeah, he definitely had like this really extensive. So when you go to the wardrobe department, you walk in, there's a desk right in front of you where the assistant would check you in. And if you go to the left, you have all these fitting rooms. And then if you just walk into the center of the room, it's a bunch of racks and racks and racks of fabric. And
racks on racks.
Racks on racks, yeah. And you could just walk around as like a fabric store and there's all these, tailors, just seamstresses, tailors. They're just working on these different things. And it was pretty awesome. Just that element, just the wardrobe department was such an efficiently well-run machine. And just really quickly, speaking of wardrobe, I was watching an episode of Columbo. I watched Columbo. It's one of the shows that I like, guys.
What?
I'm a real big fan of Peter Falk. Yeah. And as I was watching Columbo, in one episode, they had a wardrobe designer by the name of Edith Head.
Love Edith Head.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And so when I was on the Paramount lot, there would be many times I'd walk past the Edith Head building, because different people had buildings named after them. Lucille Ball had her own building, and Edith Head would have hers. And I never really knew who she was, but now watching this Columbo episode and doing research about her, she was this world famous costume designer who won like 8 Oscars, 8 Academy Awards.
Wow.
And she has a building named after her. And you just talk about great accomplishments by women. She is one of them, and she should be recognized for her talents.
I'm thinking her heyday was the 50s or the 60s, maybe, but she is very famous for. I just quickly Googled because I wanted to make sure I got it right. I think she made Grace Kelly's wedding dress or something like that.
She did a bunch of her clothes.
I just know that she designed tennis rackets. That's all I know.
No, that was a different one. Yes. No, she's fantastic. And just to, I say that to say that the benchmark is extremely high for the people that are working in the wardrobe department. The benchmark is super high. The costume designers are amazingly accomplished, and Robert Blackmon is in the line of these kinds of people. So I just wanted to make sure I take my hat off to him, but also recognize what she did to leave such a legacy behind that, she has buildings named after her.
Yeah. On that note, before we run out, let's go around real quick and say, who has the coolest outfit in Deep Space Nine? Anne Marie's not allowed to say Loxana Troy.
On this,
sorry.
Because that's your answer.
We're talking about of all time? Or?
Yeah, any outfit in Deep Space Nine.
Oh, that's too easy.
The Kira dress, in his way.
His way, okay.
It's a 3-way tie, I think.
Let's hear it.
3-way.
Well, Quark, his suits are fabulous. The fabrics and the fittings and everything, they're just fabulous. Jadzia's purple dress on her uniform.
Uh-huh.
And of course, Loxana, her stuff was wild. I was thinking of Major Barrett wearing those heavy earrings and everything all the time. And Quark's mom.
Yeah, Moogie.
Yeah. I mean, there's some of, we talked about this before, the beading, that takes forever to do. And she had strands of beads on her, I guess, dress, if that's what you want to call
Caftan.
it. Yeah. Yes.
What about you, Homer? What do you think?
I think it's Quark, day in, day out. And part of that's because that's what he's wearing as he's a bartender. And it's not like he's wearing a Starfleet uniform, so he can express him. I don't know. I don't know if Garrick's is Taylor or if it came from Ferenginar or what, but I think his look is great. And I thought, wow, that would be a good cosplay. Not that I'm going to do it because I can't do the prosthetic stuff and everything. Okay, Dr. Gruner. Okay. Yeah, so Quark. Garrick, sometimes it looks like he's in an olive jumpsuit, so no.
Shots fired.
I don't see anything wrong with olive jumpsuits. I mean, they're not my favorite, but I'll live.
He said that, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
DJ, there you are. Here we go.
Take a sip.
All right. Melissa, what do you think?
I don't know if I have a favorite outfit. I really liked Nog's outfit in this that I mentioned earlier. His jacket is so spiffy. I love it. But I also, like Anne Marie was going to say, Kira's dress. I don't know if you were talking about the Mirror Universe dress. Oh. So nice. And then her outfits in the Bada Bing episodes, I love them. So And then she's got this red thing where
Yes, the red
when
one.
she's out of uniform. Love that too. So those are some of my favorites.
Ooh, I was
Nice.
talking about like the red evening gown with like the cream like at the top, that's strapless.
Yeah.
I love that.
Bada bing. Yeah.
Yeah, and also like hologram Kira wears it when she sings Fever.
Yes.
So pretty.
Love that dress.
What about you, Gorn?
I mean, there is Captain Sisko in Explorers. I love
Yeah.
that vest set that he's
Yes,
wearing,
sir.
and
Yes.
it just takes the cake for me. That's the one.
Got it.
Yeah.
Close to my answer. What do you got, Cirroc? Who's your favorite?
Oh man, there's a lot. I think Ducat's outfit is like so striking. It's just like, oh, I don't know if it's the best, but it gets the point across. Like it says a lot. As far as like who he is and what his personality is like, I think it matches it. But my favorites are the when O'Brien and Bashir play dress up, either playing racquetball or dressed up for a Viking ship or something. I just like it when they're dressed up together. Their little matching outfits.
God, you're so right. Yeah, I should have thought of that one. The Bashir one, especially because O'Brien just looks like just a regular.
Well, yeah, he just got shorts and
dude, but
Bashir racquetball outfit is literally, it should be made into a standout.
Yeah. He looks like a Tron extra.
Cutout. Yeah. it's
He does.
What were they thinking?
It's that good.
That
good.
Okay.
Now I agree with TJ on the Sisko thing, but this is the one for me.
I love that one.
Oh boy.
You guys love that? Really?
No, we do not.
Seriously?
Nobody loves that.
Stop. I love that.
Cisco doesn't love that.
can't
Nobody loves that.
No.
No.
I mean,
Only he could pull it off.
No, that's a one-time moment.
You want him to pull it off?
Somebody loved it. He's in it. It made it on screen, so somebody loved it.
The other one is
those
Molly.
shorts and
Molly's
I was
got the
gonna say
coolest
I
threads.
love Molly's dresses.
Molly does have some good ones.
And when they did that huge auction at Christie's, I was really touched. Like in the I think it was A&E or History Channel, they showed like who bought one of her dresses in the auction for like $200 or $400, and he got it for his little daughter. It was so cute.
But he's like, don't touch it. $400.
2 or 400, I can't remember which. Something crazy, but they are really cute. I was gonna say Molly's my honorable mention.
Cirroc, would you cosplay this?
Yeah, no. If I was in Brazil, if I was on vacation in Brazil, it might fit in.
So it's a maybe. All right, guys. Well, thanks for the fun today. We do want to say thank you very much to Malissa Longo for classing up the joint as she does. Very special thanks to Dr. Sue, Dr. Marie Segal, TJ, Mr. Gorn, Homer Freezy out somewhere in New Yeezy, for Aaron Eisenberg, for Cirroc Lofton, for Odyssey Radio. Thank you all very much. And we'll see you next time. Always remember the 7th rule.